Well, hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. Now, I'm not sure if it's good morning, good afternoon, good day, good afternoon, and maybe good night to wherever you are, some of you, but wherever you are, welcome. It's always good to have you come and join us and share time and space with us. Tonight, by the way, before I get going there, I am Joy Ruffin, and my work is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. And it's all connected, it's all aligned. But one of my biggest pleasures, one of my biggest joys is bringing to you each and every Wednesday night a leading lady to share her journey with you. And they're always exceptional, they're always exciting. So please just sit back and get comfortable. Make yourself comfortable. I have a little bit of a laryngitis, but that doesn't stop me. And I want you to get comfortable and get a sip of coffee or cocktail, tea, whatever makes you comfortable, and let us begin. So please help me to welcome our featured guest speaker tonight, Julia Stewart. Julia, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm sorry you're not totally 100%, but some of the items that I sent you will make you feel better.
Well, you know what? This I know, and this I'm happy to talk about because the beauty, Julia, is I don't feel bad. It's just a voice. I have a
Yeah.
frog there. It happens. But I want to talk to our audience about your wellness and women's empowerment because that's what you do. And I'm excited for you to share with us how you came to be from a server, CEO, to a social media agent, and what you're doing in the business that you have. So,
How about the short version?
yes, the short, the short.
So it is true that I started my career when I was 16 at an IHOP as a food server. That is a true story. And I loved it. I loved every bit about it. I loved being able to take 40 minutes and change somebody's entire outlook on the day just by the engagement. And that really led to a lifetime, 40 years in the hospitality industry. And eventually, through hard work and college and several opportunities, I eventually became CEO of IHOP. Had a wonderful time. And through a series of endeavors, we purchased Applebee's in a $2.7 billion acquisition, became
Ooh.
Dine Brands, and did that for many, many years. And after it was 20 years as chairman and CEO, it was time for me to do something else. And during all that time, Joy, I really did reflect, spent a lot of time
Mhm.
reflecting on what I had done. And I was very much a part of giving so many people an opportunity, making so many jobs possible, creating so much wealth for our franchisees and certainly our shareholders. But I also was a part of too much fat, too much sugar, too much salt, too much portion size. And
Yes.
so, after much reflection and quite a bit of what I would call research, both consumer research and then sort of investigative research, I made the decision that I had always grown up in a health and wellness kind of environment, but many people didn't have that opportunity or it
Yes.
just never came to be. So, with that, in January 2020, I created Alurx. And Alurx is really intended to help you on your wellness journey. And we started out by selling products that would help you through your wellness journey. And now we're in the midst of developing an app, which is behavior modification. So when you
Yes.
literally go on the app, it will provide you the opportunity to change behaviors, whether it's better sleep, better daily food intake, better exercise, better stress relief. It's going to create behavior modifications through daily rituals, routines, education, and a little bit of joy, no pun intended, every day.
Well,
And with
well.
well, and deservingly so. And with that, the app will be out later this year, and we will obviously offer a subscription to it, and the products will be a part of it. But I think I mentioned to you before, Joy, the last time I was on, that it isn't just Alurix products. Our doctors and medical specialists
Yes.
may find
Yes. Yes.
somebody
Yes.
else's product that they prefer. And so our whole thing is we just want the best product for you. Some people may never need a product. It may simply be rituals, routines, or things they need to read. But with
Well,
that, it's changed I've been doing this now for 3 years, and I have
yes.
truly come to feel like I am not only making a difference, but helping people live longer, healthier lives.
Well, Julia, I don't think there's a question about that because when we talk about wellness and women's empowerment, why we're excited for the future for women, especially for everyone, but especially
Right.
women, because you're being able to be the founder of this company is dynamic, it's exciting. And what I really love about this is you're a team builder. You're
Right.
bringing all of these people into the fold who are supporting you and taking this company to the top. So tell us a little bit about your wellness journey. You mentioned it a wee bit about the sugar and the carbs and all that stuff that's not good. But when did you have that awakening where you knew this has to change and I have to get something in here that's going to work for people in a much more efficient way?
You know, it's a great question. And it's kind of ironic because I think I mentioned to you before, I grew up an only child and
Yes.
both my parents were teachers. And I don't think we ever talked about the fact that my mother was a girls' physical education teacher for
Ah,
45 years in the public school system. And so I grew up with two parents who worked out every day, who ate well. Um, and that was our lifestyle. I didn't know any different. I think growing up, the one thing that probably my parents weren't particularly well educated on was salt intake, right? Because they just weren't. And processed foods, which are really not very good for you. But beyond that, I just grew up thinking that's part of how one lives and one stays healthy is take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind, find that center, whatever that looks like for you. But most importantly, it was the daily exercise and the eating the small portions and the like. I just grew up that way. I think as I got older, certainly by the time I was in college and then in my career, I
mhm.
started noticing how many people had not grown up that way or
Yes.
really or really
Yes.
didn't it wasn't as if they weren't trying. It's just they
Julia,
didn't have any kind of reinforcement.
that's the irony of how you went from that wonderful background,
Right.
upbringing, to the food service business where there was a lot of sugar and salt and all that
Right.
other stuff.
So I made the effort as I got in my career where I could make a
Yes,
difference, where I could impact and influence. We
absolutely.
started talking about, well, let's do a menu at IHOP where people can eat for less than 500 calories, or let's do the Weight Watchers routine at Applebee's, whatever it was that I did, or what we used to call border lights at Taco Bell. Throughout the years, for those of you who've been around for a while, you'll remember all that. Except here's the problem, Joy, when you go
Mm,
to work for a brand that's everyday indulgence,
yes,
you can't get people to change the thinking of, well, why would I go to a brand that's everyday indulgence and then eat for less than 500 calories? So I think one of the things I realized is it's somebody like me teaching you how you can navigate life. You can still go out or you can be at home, but you can eat the reasonable meal or you
yes,
can eat less or you can eat better. And so that education and that routine and that notion of changing one's behavior probably really needs to start at home less than it does in the retail sector or as you go out and about in your life. And that's, I think, one of the small epiphanies I had. That in, the large majority of Americans don't want to go out to eat. They want to go out and indulge. And one of the things that this whole
I love
notion,
that.
right, but this notion of a behavior modification begins to teach you you can still have a wonderful time. You can still enjoy the pleasure of your family and your friends, or even your own solitude. And you don't have to indulge. You can certainly have that little treasure, right? Um, the
Well,
non-dairy ice cream or the dairy ice cream, whatever that may be. It just can't be on an every other meal basis. It really
well,
does have to be a different. And by the way, your body will tell you how often or infrequently you can walk away.
indulge.
Exactly.
Well, I love the expression everyday indulgence, but and also the word that you mentioned there as you're explaining to us beautifully so about change,
Yeah.
changing, and it has to start at the home. And yet, what you're doing with your company, you're giving health conscious individuals a consistent, proven way to get
Right.
to health and wellness. And it's an education. not only with the team that you have, but the doctors that you brought aboard, because
Right.
we all need this, because now more than ever, longevity, health, we know it's everything, but that change is a pivotal thing that takes time. So I celebrate what you're doing. What would be some of your, you shared a little bit, but give us a little bit more in depth. What is your secret recipe for success when it comes to wellness? You mentioned it, but let's expound on it a wee bit more.
So I don't know if there's a secret, but
Recipe?
yeah, well, I don't know if so much a secret recipe, but I would tell you, from my perspective, it's never faltering from your vision or your belief. And I think that has held us well here at
Yeah.
Alurx. And I also spending all that time doing consumer research and consumers telling us, hey, here's what I really want, and I can't find it. So if you ask the average person, like we did, so tell us what works for you. They're like, I have to go to 19 different avenues, 19 different websites and apps to just get through my daily routine. That doesn't work for me. I don't have that kind of time. If I could
Mm,
just go to one place and get everything I needed with the kind of advice and coaching and counsel and
yeah.
routine, and oh, by the way, be able to track it all, which is what our app does for you individually, then I'm in. I don't know how anybody would be able, you'd spend half a day just looking it up on Google or trying to find a website or trying to find each of those apps. And I think that to me was when and it was really one of the focus groups where one of the people said, this would be a full-time job if I really try to come up with my wellness journey. Help us. So that was really the epitome and the start and the spark for me to say, wait a minute, I can combine all these things into one integrated app. That's what really
Well,
started.
that's what most everyone, when they get to your site and your company, they're going to love, because you mentioned that pivotal point for everyone, especially today,
Right.
even though this technology is giving us global and international, it's time. We don't want to take the time to just spend all day or half the day researching something. We want to go to one site if we can, where most everything that we need is there. So I like that. And when you get this app up, you said towards the end of this
This
summer,
year.
this year, it'll be, people will be able to go there, but they can go to your website now, because I
Oh, no,
do. And
they can
it's,
go today, and many, and obviously everyone does, but
yes,
I think they're thrilled. Our existing customer base is thrilled, or new people that come to it every day are thrilled with the notion that by the end of the year, it will all be integrated. And they love the idea that all of the products, all of the rituals, all of the routines, all of the behavior modification is coming from a doctor or a
yes.
technical specialist or a behavioral psychologist. Because at the end of the day, I want to know, and you'll fall into a category. It's not that this is one size fits all. Joy, your sleep needs may be 180 degrees from mine. They may be the
Yes,
same. You know, it may be
yes, yes, yes.
occasional loss, or gosh, I'm really struggling every night. We're going to put you into a different category and a different
Ah,
ritual and a different.
personalized.
Well, that's the whole notion. It doesn't work if it's, and I think when I
No.
was listening during all these focus groups, everyone said to me, my biggest complaint is if I finally find the right website or I find the right app, now my
Uh-huh.
second issue, it's not personalized. So in the
Ah,
I feel like I'm being put in with 1,000 other people, and there is no algorithm. So when you,
Julia,
yeah,
I love that. I love that for different reasons. And I want you to keep this in your noodle, because I'm going to have Kirill put you in the green room. I'm going to take a quick little reset. But when I come back, even though you mentioned it and alluded to it somewhat, I want you to share with us this consumer research that you did. What were the top three major concerns that people came back to you with? That's what we're going to discuss when I get back to you.
can't
So
wait.
just get comfortable and get ready for that. I want to hear, and the audience wants to hear, the top three, because what you're talking about as far as personalized and all of that, we get it. We get it. So Carilla's going to put you in the green room, and I'm going to take this quick little reset. And that reset is to let you know that when we talk about health and wellness, you have a pro here, somebody who's been in the trenches. She knows what it's all about, and your assignment is to connect with her. I also want you to connect with me. I have a behind the scenes, behind the curtains, little workshop Q&A coming up this Friday, June the 23rd. Can you believe it's almost here? Yes, it is. And this is something new that I've just started, but yet by the same token, I've stretched myself too thin. I'm going to continue with this until the end of August and then it's over. But for now, come and join me in the Leading Ladies Leaving Legacies Facebook group. And we'll talk about any and everything that you have a question about leadership style and your presence. And also my masterclass. It's coming up July the 13th. It's on a Thursday at 4:30, and you are going to be blown away with some of the goodies that I'm offering you because I spent a lot of time doing my own research and exploring this. So make sure you come there. Now, at the end of this conversation with this lovely leading lady today, we're going to be talking about a summer sale, and we want you to be aware of all the options that are available for you. This is a company, this is with a percentage off, but we're going to talk a little bit more in depth so you can get a little bit more of an insight about all of this wonderfulness that Julia and her team, her company is offering you. Now, Julia is back on the scene, and we're going to ask Julia, what are those top 3 concerns that you found in your consumer research? I know you found a lot, but what are the top 3?
Thank you for the question, by the way, Joy. Great question. I would say the number one thing that came up is in general. Now, this is a general group, right? Of all ages,
Yes.
30-year-olds and 70-year-olds. And in that group, people said, I don't have a wellness routine. I don't have a wellness journey. I don't know how to get there. My doctor isn't particularly helpful, nor will he or she see me to go through a wellness journey. Can you help me with my everyday wellness? So that was number one, a frustration that no one could help them and they didn't know how. Number 2 is when we asked, tell us what works, what doesn't work. What people said is what I mentioned earlier. They desperately want one place to go where they can get a routine, they can have their wellness journey tracked, they can talk to a doctor, they have a way to literally live a longer, healthier life and stay on this forever. There wasn't anything out there in the United States that would help them do that. And that was a huge issue. And the third thing that came out is, please make certain I know and can talk to, if I want to, all of the doctors and experts that are helping you. That separates you from everyone else. So those were the top 3.
Those are great top 3. And Julia, I have to tell you, I'm always blown away. I love learning. I'm a perennial ongoing student. Every time something new comes, I go, woo, it's like pure bliss. What you gave me as a number 1 would have been the last one that I would have thought about. Yet, as soon as you said it, it resonated with me. Routine and getting a way to find out what's the best routine for the individual, regardless to the age range. That was very powerful.
And Joy, it's very interesting you say that, because the truth of the matter is you don't change a behavior in 4 days, Joy. It doesn't work that way. But what we're going to do with the app and what the behavioral psychologists have taught me is that literally, Joy, if you just follow it for about 7 to 10 days, you start feeling better about yourself, Joy, that you are actually working on a behavior or a plan to help you get better. It makes a difference.
It makes a big difference, and it makes a heck of a lot of sense. Common sense, which has gone by the by, is still residing in my soul. And you said 7 to 10 days, but the key is most of us in any type of leadership position, we know that to cure a habit, it takes about 21 days, but 7 to 10 is the beginning seed of getting that going.
That's right.
And the other thing that's powerful, Julia, is when you said that they have the opportunity, if needed, to speak to the doctors.
Right.
That's powerful too.
Right.
That's very powerful. Indeed. Now, let me ask you this, because you are the powerhouse. How do you keep going the extra mile while taking care of yourself and so many others? What's the secret for you? I think I already know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. What is that extra mile? How do you take care of you?
Joy, part of this is out of habit. Part of this is just who I am. But I'm one of those people who doesn't get up from the day until certain things. And I have to feel this sense that I've made a difference, that I've helped out, that if there is that, and it can't be a really long list because that's not fair, but I don't really typically ever get up until that list is done. And so for me, it's not just a list, it's always ending my day with being grateful to someone. Always. I don't ever leave my desk without thanking someone and being grateful. So I leave feeling this sense of pride that I did the best I could for the day. That's really powerful. And that has been with me, gosh, since I think I was in my first working environment. Somebody early on just said, feel good about the day, even if it was a lot went wrong. If the last thing I do is present gratitude to someone, it always makes me feel better. And I just think never losing sight of my vision and how I want to make a difference in people's lives, it sort of is rejuvenating. It's certainly, it's like self-inspiring that I'm truly making a difference. And then I'll get a letter from a customer, how it changed their life and how they're doing so much better. I mean, there's some incredible stories. And that's what
Julia,
I call very invigorating.
Julia, you just gave us the best pearls of wisdom. You brought in the two or three words that we all need to embrace and embody within ourselves: the gratitude for whatever, the pride that you take in what you're doing, and the never say die and just keep going. If
Yeah.
you don't have that, then there is no leadership there and you can't build the team that you want.
No.
That was very, very potent. I really salute you for that, because I know when you're doing anything that's kind of innovative and new and changing things around, it's not easy. And everybody, they look from the outside, nah, but it's a whole different story. Good for you. Let's talk about something else before, because this is Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. And what I love that you gave me, and you already spoke to it, but let's expound on it a wee bit more, because I'm in the same circle camp with you. Supporting other women. Why is that so important to you? I
Gosh,
already know the answer.
Joy, I could take an hour about this, but I really do mean this in all
I
sincerity.
know. I
It,
know.
it's always been important to me from when I was not even finishing up high school. I think, Joy, the straw for me, it's always been important. I've always wanted to help other women. But I think as I became an entrepreneur, I think we may have talked about this before,
Mm.
98.5% of all of the private equity and investment money in America goes to men. And that was for me, that was the epiphany where I thought there must have been a typo. And so one of the things I did, I was talking to a group, they wanted me to speak to them. And I said, I think we should only begin as consumers buying from women who made it, or buying from women who created it, or supporting women who own it. And this woman said on the call that she was trying to create a Christmas holiday list where you only bought, it starts out small. It's like a revolution they're trying to create, where the only thing you buy over the holidays came from a woman, was made by a woman, supported by a woman, or from a woman's company. And she was trying to put this list together. So my new thing, not only do I feel strongly about it and have always felt strongly about it, but now I am actually searching out and trying to find, I'm a big gift giver for friends and family. I will only buy from someone who made that gift who's a woman.
Well, Julia, thank you for that, because again, you nailed it. I have always had this, even when I wasn't aware of it, when I was still in the
Yeah.
exploration of discovering my joy. But
Right.
I know that, and this is not to deny men. It's not
No,
them in
no.
any way. They have always had the power, but
Yeah.
now is our time. But we are to be true equals. And so we have to start by supporting each other. If that's not embedded in your soul, then we need to go back to the drawing board. So what you just said is so spot on. I love
Yeah.
it. What
I
advice
could,
do you have for the generation of women coming up who maybe don't have this embedded in their noodle, their brain? What advice can you share for the generation of women coming up in the graduating class of 2023, 24? Because that's major. We all have to learn, and you don't have to love each other. I mean, I love that expression, but have respect and regard and admiration and celebrate others, even if they're not in your camp. That's
so
where we all have to
yeah,
go.
I think, I still to this day coach and mentor many women that have nothing to do with my company, or I just coach and mentor a lot of women. And the
Yes.
younger generation, especially women coming out of college, And I think the things that I coach them on are asking the tough questions when you go to an interview, whether you're interviewing with an entrepreneur or a major corporation. If they
Yes,
can't tell you their values, if they can't tell you their mission, if they can't tell you how you're going to be valued at that company, what your development looks like, you run as fast as you can. I say that every day. And I think the other thing I tell young people first coming into the workforce is,
yes,
you try different things. The corporate America isn't for everyone. Entrepreneurialism isn't for everyone. Uh,
exactly.
Nonprofit isn't for everyone. Everyone has to try and find that sweet spot. And sometimes it takes a while. But if you don't ask the tough questions, if you don't challenge your supervisor, your company, where you are, I don't think you're making a difference. And so the one thing I would tell you is, for a lot of people I coach and mentor, that notion, just that simple notion, is incredibly uncomfortable. And I think it's a generation that didn't necessarily always have to be in the same room. They were always on Zoom. And I think for a lot of those people, having to confront or having to have a different, I think they find that very unsettling to have that.
Unsettling.
And I actually, 2 days ago, was coaching someone and actually said, let's rehearse. Let's actually give it a shot. Let's just try. And I'm in an interview, and I say to you at the end of that, because she's in the midst of interviewing for positions, I said, now ask me. I'm going to ask you, so do you have any questions for me? Everyone does that in an interview. And normally she said, well, I just say, no, you've answered all my questions. I said, no, you're going to challenge me. You're going to ask me the difficult question. What would you like to ask me? And we did it 4 times before
Julia,
she felt comfortable.
until she felt comfortable and she could do it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
everything that you just now shared with us, it brought back to me my upbringing. I mean, we all had our issues and different
Sure.
things, but my schooling and my upbringing was, whatever you do it the best that you can, even if it's not for you, even if it's not something that you want, because if it's not, find a way graciously to leave and get more in alignment with because we have so many people today, and I'm not a negative person, I always take the high road, who are just doing things until they get to be the CFO of a company. That doesn't compute. You got to do it with all heart and soul. And what you're telling them about value and missions and to challenge, that's a good thing. That's what we all need.
It's not only a good thing, but in so doing, if the person you're speaking with actually cannot tell you what the values of their company is, I always say to people, you should run so fast it would make your head spin.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's a company you're not going to be happy with.
No.
Finding the right fit is so important today. And Joy, let's really be honest. In this day and age in America, everyone who wants a job has a job. So if you're unhappy, there are so many people out there looking for the right person to hire.
Oh my goodness, it's never ending, and especially since the pandemic. I mean, it's just over and everything. You know what? I don't know where the time goes. I say that every Wednesday night and Tuesday, but I want you to mention about your summer sale that's coming up, where they're getting X amount off and all the things that are of value there. Give us your takeaway, what you want them to take away, the pearls of wisdom. Kirill is going to put up that banner and share with us a little bit what you're offering those who come now and those for the replay. Yes.
Yeah. Joy, to be clear, this VIP 25 at Alurx is just for someone watching this podcast. So it's only for the people that are watching either tonight, or if you rerun this, it's just for literally your audience, because we want them to feel special. It's not only 25% off site wide, but it's also free shipping. And so it's important that people know I guess the reason I felt so strongly about free shipping is I'll do anything to have you try the product. And so literally giving you an opportunity to have a discount off and free shipping. I just want people to try the different products and see what they like.
Wonderful. I love that. And that's a good thing, except that this goes out over 137 different channels, and it's going to be running everywhere. And some of them are going to be seeing it at different times. But as long as you have the link here, it's going to work. Julia, I celebrate and I applaud you, because I know the heart and soul that you have in the business that you have, and also how you work to build teams and to be the leader that's needed. So thank you. Kirill is going to put you in the green room. I cannot thank you enough, because what you're doing it lights me up. It ignites me. So just
Hey,
keep
Joy, it
going.
works both ways. I can't thank you enough. You're always so gracious to me. Thank you so much for having me back.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm going to put you in the green room and I'll be with you in just a second. My friends, she gave you everything that you need. And I would suggest that you go to the website and peruse through and purchase and see the great customer service that you get. I've been there from the first time that I met her, and I'm trying and attempting to uh, go into a few products that I know will work for me. You do the same, because this lady and this company, they give you everything because they care and you feel it, you see it. That said, the time goes. Don't I say this every week? Much love from my heart to your heart. You be and stay well and look after you first so you can look after others. Until we connect the next time, have the best rest of the week ever, and I'll see you again soon. Much, much love. Cheers.